is the UR Business Network.
This is Raymond Rondeau, your host of Market Mavens on the UR Business Network. And today we have a special guest with us, Stephanie Kammerman. So welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thanks for having me, Raymond.
If you've been an investor or trader for quite some time, or even just beginning, you've probably seen or heard of Stephanie. She headlines at all the major shows, the Traders Expos, the money shows. She's made quite a name for herself. She's usually right at the front, right at the top, and one of its featured speakers. So Stephanie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you become known as the stock whisperer?
It's a great question. Everybody always asks me, how did you get the name? You know, it's a cool name. And you know, a lot of my traders always assumed that I had a crystal ball because I would call a lot of things every single day. So they started to call me the stock whisperer.
Interesting.
I don't really have a crystal ball.
No, I don't think any of us do. If we did, we probably wouldn't be here doing this. So how did you get involved in the stock market itself? How did you get interested in this?
Well, being a female, you know, you don't grow up and your parents in my generation say to you, you know what, Steph, you should be a stock trader.
Right.
I said, you should be a teacher, you should be a nurse. But I got interested because my grandmother was way ahead of her time, and she decided to buy me one share of IBM when I was born. I'm not going to tell you what year that was in, but it split. It split quite a few times, but I'm going to tell you, it got me interested in the market because every week I would wait for the newspaper to arrive on the weekend, and I would check and see where is IBM, and I'm still checking to see where IBM is.
Interesting.
Day. Yeah.
So what I've learned on the circuit and through my own, we shall say, perilous adventure through becoming a professional trader is that there's many different approaches. There really is many different approaches, and I think we both agree that everybody has to kind of find the approach that's right for them for trading or investing. But you have a very unique approach that not many people do that I know of. In fact, you're probably the only person I know that lectures on it professionally and does it. And it involves dark pools. So I wonder if we could start to get into exactly what are dark pools.
Okay, well, in 1994, I discovered the dark pool. Again, I didn't know anything about the market. I got a job as an assistant to one of the best traders at the largest prop firm in New York, Schoenfeld Securities. And I sat in the $1 million room, and they sat me in front of this green glowing dark pool machine called the Instinet. If you've been trading for a long time, you worked at a big firm, you know what I'm talking about. And it was this machine that had all the big orders on it, and only large firms that had a lot of money to pay every month to have this machine had access to it. But what I saw was these huge orders that nobody else saw. And so if somebody at my table said, hey, Steph, you know, sell my Microsoft, and I would look on the machine and I would see a huge bid. Right? You don't want to sell Microsoft. The big guys are buying it down here. And it would go up and vice versa on the sell side. So that was my first education in 1994, learning that there is this bigger market out there that really people think is invisible, and it's not. But in 1994, you had to work at a big firm. Now you don't. Anybody has access to the dark pool. And just to tell you exactly what is it, right?
Sure.
It's a network where all the big guys buy and sell large orders without running the risk that other people are going to see their hands. And it is a secretive alternative exchange. You're Goldman Sachs, and you have to sell 20 million shares, right? You're not going to sell it on the regular market because you're going to pay high commissions. You're not going to get a good fill. It's going to be very difficult. So you can sell it in the dark pool, get much better commissions, get better fills, and you don't have to report your entire order being sold until it's completely done.
Interesting.
Yes.
So nobody knows who's selling, essentially. At least
Correct.
the overall market doesn't. The general market doesn't know who's selling, and they don't necessarily know how much they're trying to sell or purchase.
Not until it's completely done. They have 3 hours to report the trade. I mean, how else are the big guys going to sell everything at the top or buy everything at the bottom? We see it both ways. Yeah, which is how they manipulate. I mean, how else are you going to get done on that?
There's a lot of statistics on this I know of, and I've never generated them myself, but I hear approximately maybe 40% of?
40% of all the volume being done right now is being done in the dark pool. So it's really important that you have software that has dark pool data feed, or else you're missing 40% of the volume.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to that in a second. I have read, it's true that dark pools have been around since the late 80s?
Since the beginning of time, actually.
Really, the beginning of time.
They used to be the upstairs room.
Yes, that's what it was referred to. Absolutely.
Let's go. Let's take it upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So let me ask you. You mentioned about the dark pools. How does an investor or a new trader get access to this? Can we at least touch on this for a
Sure,
little bit?
of course. Yeah. So I don't sell access to it. You can gain it in a number of ways. There's quite a few companies out there that have it. Charles Schwab has it. I know that Lightspeed has it. Those are two companies that have dark pool data feed, but also have a block trade indicator, which is what I use.
Great. You know what? This is obviously an interesting topic for our viewers, so we're going to come back with this in part 2.
3, 2. This is the UR Business Network.